I really hate beach bags. And I have my reasons. It is because everything that goes in a beach bag, they are so deep and they are so big that everything ends up in the bottom, and then you can't find anything apart that from when you get out of the beach with your wet towels. Everything is so messy. Last summer I made some pouch bags for the inside of the beach bag, so all your little things, the phone and the sunglasses, don't get loose in there.
I still need some more pockets in my life.
So of course I'm going to make a beach bag with different pockets so everything stays in place. And I have this beautiful canvas with toucans and hibiscus, which I think is lovely. It's not very thick, it's quite thin to be a canvas. So on the inside, because of all the wet towel business, I'm going to be adding some plastic, some of this clear tablecloth plastic to give it more shape and to avoid all the wetness. I'm going to cut and serge 4 rectangles of material and sew 2 of them right sides together to create the outside handbag. So in the corners to give it shape. Next I'll be cutting the plastic for the lining and hemming it with bias tape. Then sew it to the panels and to the 2 rectangles of material remaining so I can sew it together with the other piece of plastic. And then add the handles, bias tape and zipper. I'm going to be cutting 4 rectangles of material of 70 by 50 centimeters tall. It looks like a lot, but I'm going to be losing some at the bottom to make a bottom. I'll be sewing some triangles there, so that's that. And then the top will be folded to add the zipper. I did this with some faux leather handbags I made, so let's do that. And serge it because this material frays a lot. I'm going to start with 2 of these pieces, sewing them right sides together to create the outside handbag. And once this is done, I can pinch the corners to create these sort of triangles of material, and then when you sew it, you create this shape and the handbag has a bottom. I also have some bias tape to hem all these raw plastic edges, not because they cut, but they are not very nice and they'll be folding. And on the inside I want to make like a division on the whole handbag, so beach bag, so you have different areas. And to do that I thought, well, I can make it with fabric inside as well, so it looks nice. But then thinking about it, it will have been 2 pieces of material plus the 2 pieces of plastic, and then on the sides I will have to sew them to more plastic and more fabric to the edge of the handbag. So I don't think the machine can do that. So I'm going to just make a simple sheet of plastic with the bias tape on top. But for that I'll be cutting the result measurement, not the 50 by 70, but 40 by 50. Why is that? Because I'm going to be losing that bit of material at the bottom and I don't need to sew all that plastic extra. This is going to be really difficult to explain because you can hardly see anything. I have my pieces of plastic cut now. I like cutting stuff little by little, not only just if I do it wrong, but because I think I understand it better than cutting everything in the beginning and having millions of pieces. So the 2 big ones go inside the handbag, and to that I'll be sewing some pockets. This depends on your personal taste, because on some you can put books, Or for example, I cut these rectangles to put phones and sunglasses, and then I cut another one that I'm going to be dividing in two, and that way I can put 2 bottles of water, for example, so they don't move around in the handbag. So I'm going to be sewing some bias tape around them to finish them, and sewing them to their panel. All the bias tape done, and now you can see it better on camera. I think it looks really nice, and bias tape, because it's cut on the bias, allows you to do these nice curves. I just saw it like folding like it is, so I didn't do it properly like you do with material, opening it, sewing, and then folding back and sewing again. I just did it like this because it's plastic, there's no point. And I also did the division that is going to be in the middle of the handbag, the top bit, so it's finished already, and now I'm going to put my pockets on the sides I want them. And because this material is a bit difficult to use, you can't really use pins to keep stuff in place. I use some painter's tape to keep the pockets in place while sewing, and it worked really well. I have all my little pockets sewn to the panels. This one looks really good for phones and sunglasses, and a wider one for maybe your wallet, and then the bottles one. And then on the other side I have the 2 big ones, and now I'm going to sew it to their piece of material, being careful it's right size, not right size together, but right size out, so you can see the nice side on the inside. And one thing I'm going to do that I haven't been doing is use my plastic foot. I haven't used it, I don't know why, I forgot. It is true that this material is sticky, so it sticks to the base of the sewing machine, but still, you have tools, use them. With the fabric behind it, the plastic looks much nicer, and now is the moment of assembling everything. The exterior bit was quite easy because it's 2 rectangles of material sewn right sides together all the way around, and then on the inside I made these sort of triangles, so the bag has a bottom and it has a bit of a structure. What's happening now? That I can do the same, but I want to add like a middle bit of separation to create 2 different areas inside the handbag, and this is already smaller because I don't want all the excess plastic around, and if it's smaller now it will have this more square shape. So what I'm going to do is sew it to one side, then pull and sew it to the other, and then when it's time to sew the bottom bit, I'll do it leaving the 10 centimeters ready to sew it in the end. I have my bag. It looks good, I'm quite happy. It's easy to do if you sew one side and then pull from the partition inside to the other side so it reaches, and then sew that side. And now to sew the bottom, because this is a bit stiff and the partition bit, this division is shorter because I left it with less material, so I knew where to sew and where it has to reach. What I'm going to do is just pull from the middle. I'm going to join the middle bit like this, and this way, little by little, if we move to the edges, you see how it's creating our corner here by itself. So we don't need to do much. Once we reach the side here, this is already done. This is how I'm doing. I'm quite happy, especially because I haven't had any problems with the machine, which is quite a relief. I was worried about all the layers of plastic and fabric, but it's been okay. I've been sewing with a thick needle, one of the leather ones, and it's been fantastic. And once you finish the bottom bit, it's a little bit, you have to put your fingers here and there and squeeze them in, but it's okay. And then you can do the triangle bits to give it the shape as we did with the outside. So this is how we're doing. This is the handbag, and let me show you. I would like to put it inside out or right sides out, so you could see all the pockets and everything even closer, but with the partition, with that middle bit of plastic, it's impossible. So, well, you get the idea of all the pockets and the good things it has. And one thing I'm going to do, these triangles are really stiff because it's plastic and they stick out, and I want them to stay in place, so I'm going to give it a quick stitch so they stay up. And before I put one thing inside the other to sew everything together, I'm going to do the handles, because if not, I'll get all the stitches on the inside and it doesn't make any sense because I have the pocket. So let's do that first. I'm going to cut the length I like them to be. This is from when I did a sling bag in December, and it's quite durable, so it's going to be good. This kind of nylon material frays a lot, and we don't want that once we do our bag. So
Be really careful with this.
And to sew the handles to the handbag, what I'm going to do is to measure the center. Once I have the center, I can place them at the same distance, so they are centered. And well, it depends the length you like and everything. But one thing we have to do is not sew it only on one point, but to make a big rectangle with a cross inside, so that way the weight of the handbag is in more than one place, because if not, we will rip the material off. Once one is inside the other, I'm going to stitch it all around the top so it stays in place, and then I'll put some bias tape so it looks nicer. And for the zipper, what I'm going to do is to fold the lining and the handbag so it goes in between. I love how it turned out. I think it's really useful to have different pockets for all your stuff and for your wet swimming costume and towels so you don't get anything else wet. Leave me any comments if you like, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this kind of content. I upload a video once a week and that way you don't miss anything. I leave you 2 other handbags I've made, one for beach toys and the other one to go out for a walk, and I'll see you around.